Now I have the slightly daunting task of giving the Francisco, New York, London, and Mumbai. She established Landor India in 2008, propelling it to become the country's largest and most reputed brand and design consultancy. Mrs. Lulu has led brand transformation from iconic clients such as Tata Group, Mahindra Group, Aditya Birla Group, Axis Bank, and National Stock Exchange, and possibly more. Recognized as Champion India Mentor of the Year and a member of the Impact's top 50 women in media, marketing, and advertising, Mrs. Lulu is also a frequent speaker and moderator at brand and design conferences. So here's to Mrs. Lulu Raghavan, the branding powerhouse who proves that with vision, empathy, and a touch of magic, a logo can become legacy. They say those who can't do teach, but Mr. Harsh Pamnani, he does teaches, write, and still finds time to be everywhere. Mr. Harsh is a brand storyteller, best-selling author, and a seven-time TEDx speaker with over 13 years of experience in marketing. He's the marketing head at T Hub, India's largest innovation hub, and has authored four books, including Booming Brands and Booming Digital Star, which explores the journey of India's most iconic brands and digital creators. His articles has been featured in top publications like the Forbes, the Economic Times, and CNBC. He's collaborated with unicorns like First Cry and Airseeds, as well as corporates like Deloitte and HSBC. Beyond his professional achievements, Mr. Harsh is also a passionate educator, teaching startup branding at MICA Ahmedabad and business storytelling at IIM Indore. So here's to Mr. Pamnani, proving that with the right story, even a C grade student can become a A+.
So, thank you. Thank you for the nice introductions. And I would like to request K. Ganesh sir, founder of Growth Story, promoter of brands like Big Basket, Portia, Bluestone, Twitter, many brands. So I would like to request him to come on stage and unveil our books and give his blessings to me because I am a kid.
You.
Thank you. So this is Sir Ambi sir's book. Sorry?
It's a nice touch and surprise.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I was looking for you. After the session, I will talk to you.
So, Ambi is a renowned, prolific author, as was being explained. He has been on the board of IIM Calcutta. He has been teaching at multiple management institutes. This is the 12th book?
Yeah.
12th book. And give him a big hand.
He put money where his mouth is. He's actually endorsed the book, and his quotation is there in the book.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I'll request Ganesh sir to unveil the book of Lulu, ma'am. Ma'am, please. जी सर थैंक यू सर आपका स्टूडेंट है
I want a signed copy of the book. Give her a big hand. First book, first author. It's great to unveil it here. Pleasure.
Now I will request Ganesh sir to unveil my book and give me his blessings.
So Harsh, Harsh is again prolific author. This is his fourth book. I had the privilege of knowing him over multiple books. The second book that he wrote had discussed some of my companies, and of course, Big Basket is covered in more than one book. Give him a big hand. And thank you.
Group photo.
With the book. With the book. All the best.
Minds of our customers or consumers. From the consumer customer's perspective, it's the associations, the feelings that we have about a brand. So, very simply, associations. A promise that brand owners make, a promise that consumers expect.
Okay, so thanks. Thanks, Lulu. First of all, let me thank Harsh for inviting me to this Bizlit Fest. Benedict is not here, so I thank him for putting, it's not easy to put together something like this and also get a pretty good audience both here and downstairs for an event like this. So compliments to T-Hub, compliments to Benedict for pulling this off. Coming to the question you asked, I think I've written about it in my book. There's a long definition of what is a brand, which is brand is a name, symbol, sign, which distinguishes one product or one service from the others so that the consumer can make out what is the difference, right? That's a long definition, but the shorter, nicer definition which I've come across, Lulu, and you would have also probably come across this, is that brand is a name that tells a story. That's what it is. So if I say Sundrop, it tells a story. If I say Lux, it tells a story. If I say TCS, it tells a story. It has to tell a story. So name which tells a story is a brand. And that's my very short definition of what a brand is.
Wonderful, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir, for simplifying this very important and complex topic for everyone. Now, my next question is around branding is considered as a fluff by many entrepreneurs. They think it come at a later stage, is nice to have, not must have, and they give more preference to unit economics. But as a marketer, I understand that branding is one of the most important thing any business journey. How you have convinced so many founders you have guided in their journey that branding is as important as anything else? Ma'am, with you.
I would actually disagree. I don't think they say it's fluff. Intuitively, they know telling a story is important. They told a story in order to raise money for their ventures. They know that telling a story is important to attract the consumer as well. Perhaps, Harsh, going back to your earlier point, where founders may falter when it comes to brand building is that they don't go beyond identification or name and logo. That story has to be deeply embedded through the experience that is delivered. So it's understood at the level of creating awareness, creating salience, and theoretically understood as the ability to command that premium. But the whole act of brand building, which requires investment, it requires patience, it requires consistency of efforts, that discipline perhaps is missing. It's difficult. And the VCs, of course, are chasing on the unit economics and the business aspects of it. The connection of the brand to the business is less understood in explicit terms. Other than knowing that it's important, perhaps not being able to make that direct connect.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for explaining that beautifully. Ambi, sir, your perspective.
Let's pull back a bit. So most startups, they start creating a product and then they start finding the market for it. And then at a later stage, they start saying, what is my brand, right? Or do I really need branding? But the smarter startup says, look, from day one, I need to figure out what my brand is going to be. Because that's how my customer is going to call me. So what is going to be the brand? And they start understanding it, start investing in it. Obviously, there is this whole dichotomy between performance marketing and brand marketing. Most startups spend a lot of money on performance marketing, and they underinvest on brand marketing. But we know for a fact that after a point in time, performance marketing starts delivering less and less, unless you have a strong brand. So at some stage, I was just talking to one of someone who's got a startup in in T-Hub. So he's advising, these companies to kind of spend carefully. And he says, what they understand is keep spending, right? Keep spending on performance marketing. So how many inquiries are you getting? How many orders are you getting? Keep spending. Without really worrying about what is my brand. And then it becomes too late, right? You run out of money. So if the smarter ones say, look, I need to balance the two. I need to brand. I need to do performance. Yes. Early days, I'll probably do more of performance, less of brand. But at a particular point in time, I need to switch. So Ganesh is not here. PE and VCs know that beyond a point in time, performance marketing will start tapering off. Your ROI will start coming down unless you have a strong brand pull. So a strong brand actually will make your performance marketing work better.
Right. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I've often heard founders talking about what comes first, personal brand or the business brand, and on what I should focus first and second. So I wanted to know both of your perspective on this topic, starting with you, Lulu ma'am.
I think it's a hard one to state unequivocally that one comes before the other. If you look at strong personal brands like Richard Branson or even Ratan Tata, those brands then help the businesses grow in many senses. On the other hand, you have entrepreneurs who identify a strong problem in the market, concentrate on building a product or service, and then become a brand in themselves, right? Take Mama Earth, for example, where they very strongly identified a need, and then Ghazal, in her own way, became a brand, if you will. So they both go hand in hand. Very often, the founder can be the biggest amplifier of the brand, and they need to be quite in sync in terms of what the founder stands for, which is very much linked to the business. So Richard Branson, again, is the great example because his whole life philosophy is being a maverick and challenging. And every one of the businesses of Virgin also does that.
Right.
And then how Virgin performs in the market then builds back into Richard Branson's brand, for example. So I would say that no longer the founder can be behind, like in the old days when you had large companies, you never knew who the founders were. Today, they are the important spokespeople of the brand. Even if you take a large corporate like Mahindra, for example, Dr. Anish Shah, or before that, Anand Mahindra, were spokespeople. They themselves built up who they were. They had a point of view. They built their brands in the eyes of stakeholders as well. The founder is responsible for navigating the business environment for the business, and therefore their authority, their credibility is equally important. On the other hand, another example is if you take sports personalities,
Right.
Bollywood stars, Hollywood stars, they built their personal brands first, and that then spawned a business empire, right? So it can go both ways. They go hand in hand. They can't be, I would say, devoid of a connection to each other.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing such a wonderful perspective. Ambi sir, your thoughts on this topic?
Okay, all of you here, how many of you think you're a personal brand?
That's quite a few.
The truth is, everyone here is a personal brand, including my good friends, my IIT batchmates. There's, 6 of them sitting there. Every single one of them Only one of them put up his hand, but all of them are personal brands. Right? Everyone is a personal brand here, whether you like it or not. Right? It's then up to you to then project it, build it, or keep quiet. Like what Lulu said, just keep quiet. But the truth is today, whether you like it or not, even when you attend a music concert, you're in public eye. And I don't want to talk any more about what happened.
But you did.
Not talking any more about what happened in which music concert. Okay. But the comeback of that company is amazingly good. Okay. I don't know how many of you have seen the Gwyneth Paltrow video. It's out of the world. I mean, fantastic. So whether you like it or not, everyone is a personal brand. It's up to you to then decide how much I want to invest in my personal brand. And the problem is the wrong equation, which is personal branding means posting something on social media. Right? Everyone thinks if I find something, take a photograph, put it on social media, I become a personal brand. You don't become a personal brand. Right? So in fact, I wrote a whole book on that. My book, All the World's a Stage, is about personal branding. Right? And the whole thing is narrated like a story of someone who started a auto spare part company. And then he says, I'm making spare parts for auto companies. I sell to 4 companies. Why should I build my personal brand? The truth is, he will have to build his personal brand to attract talent. He has to build his personal brand to attract investors. He has to build his personal brand to attract all of the things. So whether you like it or not, everyone here is a personal brand. You can decide, no, I'm not going to do anything in social media, which is fine, right? But you are a personal brand. Everything, what clothes you wear, how you talk, how you behave, all this goes to build or destroy your personal brand. So the camera is always on you. Right now, Harsh is taking photographs of all of you, so watch out.
I'll give 2 quick examples just to build on that, Harsh. If you look at Zepto, Adit Palicha built Zepto first. He concentrated on the product, raised money for his venture, became hugely successful. Now, with everything that's happening, he can't hide behind. He has to come out, have a point of view, constantly nurture his persona very, very, I would say, in an intentional manner. Because what he says, what he stands for, then gets translated into the business. On the other hand, you have Falguni Nair, who had a certain persona, a track record, which attracted funding into Nykaa. And Nykaa, on its own now, has established itself, right? And she still continues to exist as someone, a very successful entrepreneur who's well known and has built a persona around her. So it can go both ways. There isn't one right answer, but you have to be very much the spokesperson of your business in order to truly amplify the success of the business as well.
Just to add to that, I mean, competence cannot be compensated by personal brand.
Yeah.
Right? Falguni Nair was seen as a very, very competent finance person. I mean, she was a very senior manager in Kotak, right? And she was extremely competent. So people are willing to invest. People said if she's starting a company, including a friend of ours who knows Falguni and Sanjay, they want to invest in her company because they know
she stood for something.
They know she will not fail, right?
Yeah.
So you get your competence level first. Don't worry too much about branding. Get your competence level. What are you good at? How can you get better at that? And then you can then build on your personal branding, personal aura, your voice, the way you present yourself, etc., etc. It all comes in stages. So my caution to the youngsters here, don't worry too much about posting something every 2 days in LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter or Insta. It's a big myth that if you post regularly, you'll become a famous person. You will not.
But that's the thing, right? To correct, your personal brand is not about having a social media strategy. It's about knowing what's your X factor. What is it that only you do amazingly well? Or what is it that you will build your track record on?
Yeah, perfect.
Thank you, Ambi sir. Thank you, Lulu ma'am, for sharing these important perspectives. My no-
ए अम्बी सर बोलना बहुत अच्छा नहीं लग रहा मुझे, तो अम्बी बोलना है
सर, मैं
यार.
छोटा हूं, मैं क्या करूं सर आपसे? So my next question is around books being enabler of building personal brands. They are considered as great ways and means to share the thought leadership and establishing the personal brand. Both of you were already renowned leaders in your industry before you started writing the books. So how writing books helped in strengthening your voice as a thought leader, personal brand? Lulu ma'am, starting from you.
I think when you can write, you can actually think very clearly about something, because in order to write and to communicate, you have to understand a topic really well. So the whole act of writing my book, Go Further Faster, which is written as inspiration for young people who are starting out in their careers. It's the book that I wish my parents had given me when I was 21 years old. You graduate, you get a bachelor's degree, you get a master's degree, but you come into the corporate world, and there are all these obstacles in the corporate world, right? Now, I had all of that experience, Harsh, but distilling it, making it very simple, and then enabling the reader to say, okay, I'm taking away something from this. So what? I've written something about holistic professional living, for example, having a mind, body, soul approach to your work. So what? Why is that important? Being able to write that allowed me to truly explore my point of view on the topic as well. Just as Ambi has a whole book on personal branding, the second part of my book is on how you use the principles of branding to give yourself a competitive advantage in the workplace, or if you're starting a career. So there too, there's a lot of jargon in the world of marketing and branding. Being able to write it in a very simple form so that it's inspiring and educational. I think that's what the book taught me. As a professional, writing a book is not easy, so it builds on your credibility.
Right.
It shows that you're somebody who can start a project, complete it, have a point of view. And I would also say, and Ambi, please tell me your experience, marketing the book has been really quite interesting. You can't just write a book and let your publisher do it. You have to be the spokesman of it. You've got to devise a strategy. We build other people's brands, but building the brand of your book, I think, is quite a humbling experience and teaches you quite a few things.
Okay, yeah, I think, so let me pull back and talk a little bit about my journey, because my friend Bala was asking me, Bhaga, tell me about the book. So I'm going to do a little digression to satisfy his curiosity. Okay. This is my 12th book. My first book came out 25 years ago, the year 2000. The first book I wrote because I was teaching at NMIMS, and those days you did not get case studies. Harvard case studies were not available, they're very expensive. And you did bootleg, you did Xerox copies and used them, which the Institute quite rightly discouraged. So I said, I need to teach, I think I was teaching strategic brand management. I said, look, in order to teach this, I need cases. So I said, why don't I write my own cases based on my own brands? The company I was working in, FCB Ulka, had several brand successes, like Godrej and Amul and Sundrop and Santur. So I wrote my first book of, first set of cases. Each of them 3-4 pages, easy to read. And a friend of ours, Arvind Rangaswamy, is a pretty big professor in Penn State. He said, why don't you publish this as a book? So I sent the bunch to Tata McGraw-Hill, and they said, yeah, we'll publish it. And then Deepa from Tata McGraw-Hill came, and the first book came out. Once you give the manuscript to the publisher, then it is a black hole. You really don't know what's happening. So I must have given the manuscript in 1998 or 1999. And then in the year 2000, I open a packet which comes from Tata McGraw-Hill, and there are 2 books there. I said, books? So it's complete black hole, but it came out. And then that led to the second book, third book, fourth book. I've been writing probably one book every 2 years or so. This book is an interesting experiment, right? Since Arudeep is here, I'll blame him for some of the work which I had to do. So I wrote Amazon. Westland is part of Amazon at that time. Amazon wanted authors to write an exclusive piece to be given as Kindle special free on Amazon, whatever, there's a Prime Day or something. So we brainstormed and I wrote a piece on negotiation. Amazon liked it and it kind of trended at the top of Kindle for a month or so. And very good. So next year again they made me write something. I wrote something on branding. But the deal with Amazon was after 1 year, the copyright of those two 10,000 word pieces come back to me. So it came back after 2 years. So Kartika, Westland boss, and Anish Chandy told me, "Yaar, you got two pieces, 10,000 words. Why don't you write two more? And we'll make it into a slim 40,000 word book." So we brainstormed and I thought of two more topics: understanding consumers and communication. So 4 topics, job was done a year and a half ago. Then comes Arudeep from Westland. He read the 4 and he said, "This doesn't fall together. Doesn't look, it looks kind of mixed up. Please rewrite." So I rewrote all the 4 parts together. And then they approved it, fine. And then we said, we need a title. We need a somewhat interesting title. So we brainstormed a bit and we got some lame title, Get Set Market or something. Then I said, no, I want a quirky title. Because this book has 2 topics which are not covered in most marketing books, which is negotiation and communication. So I said, I need a quirky title. The quirky title was Marketing Masala Mix. And the cover design was a masala box, MDH masala, something like that. But that was rejected by my publisher. So Kartika said, no, this is too gimmicky. Your book can't be that. So a year and a half ago, we were stuck what name to give the book, because I didn't want a title like Simple Marketing or stuff. I want a quirky title. So then I did what most of you do now, which is went to ChatGPT, started asking ChatGPT for name suggestions. So first 20, second 20, third 20, fourth 20. Finally, I noticed the word Mixology somewhere. So I said, that's my title. So I'm going to call my book Marketing Mixology. Then I told ChatGPT, design a cover with Marketing Mixology as a title, 4 bottles. Each bottle will be titled Consumer Understanding, Branding, Negotiation, and Communication. So ChatGPT gave me a cover design, which looked like a ChatGPT cover design, right? So that was taken. That was given as a brief to the cover designer. So the final design was done by Saurabh Garge, but he took that as a brief. And then he did this, and he thinks he's done an outstanding job. And of course, what Lulu's saying, that is just the first part. Book comes out, then you got to do your bit on getting the book endorsed by people like Ganesh, Rama, and a lot of others, Harish Bhatt. And then, of course, then get book reviewed, do this kind of stuff, come and talk. What works, we still don't know, right? We still don't know whether the book review of mine, which appeared in Hindu last Sunday, is helping the book sale, or is it because I did some podcast with someone called Discover the Author? Because of that, the book sale went up. I don't know. No one knows. But fact is, you do multiple things, and hopefully something will stick. So you accept all invitations to appear on multiple. I've gone on 10 podcasts in the last 15 days, all about branding and marketing mixology. I don't know what really will work. I appeared on Storyboard TV 18, good 10-minute interview. I got book reviews appeared in multiple newspapers. Book seems to be doing okay. Gone into a second print and all that, third print, whatever. So part is thinking of the idea of the book, then getting all the material together, which may take a year, then putting together a proposal, getting it approved by the publisher, and then writing it, that will take a year. And then promoting the book, which will take whatever, 3 months, 6 months going forward. So it's a long journey. Attempt is like what Lulu said, something you want to give back. I'm happy people are buying the book, reading it, putting reviews, finding it useful, very importantly. This book, I thought, is meant for youngsters. This book is actually meant for someone who's wanting to know what is marketing. Someone who's been in IT for 5 years. Say, what is this marketing, right? But it's turned out that a lot of even senior people have read the book and they've felt that, it was a good refresher for them. So that's a very good positive feeling. So thanks.
I want to share one
Have
thing.
I answered your question, Bala? Good.
I want to just add one tip for anybody who's thinking of writing a book. I'd got some advice from Indrajit Gupta, who's the co-founder of Founding Fuel. He was the editor of Forbes in India. If you want to write a book, start with building a digital audience. So maybe it's a blog, a newsletter, maybe it's LinkedIn, because then you get instant feedback on your writing style, on the content, and you start collecting an audience who's following you and your point of view. That then can become the fuel for a book. So this is what Indrajit IG told me. He said, don't start with the old-fashioned approach of a whole draft for the book. Start with these small bites and get feedback.
See, the problem is, since I've been through both era, the problem is at one time, getting the book review done in business press worked miracles, right? Now the problem is the youngsters don't read newspapers, okay? So how do you reach them? So you go to Insta, you go to LinkedIn, you start reaching them. Again, the number of bookshops have come down, right? So earlier you used to accidentally discover books in the bookshop, even that has come down. So today it's almost become a playbook. Start, building your audience on Insta and LinkedIn and Twitter, and then convert that audience into your book audience. That's the game with IG is talking about, which I think is quite right. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Now I will open the floor for questions. Please, if anybody has any question. I also have a very important question I wanted to ask, but in the interest of time, I'm opening it for questions from your side.
Important question.
अच्छा पूछ लेता हूँ. So, Ambi sir, you have achieved so much in career, learned swimming at the age of 62. You already had IIT, IIM tag. Even after that, you did the PhD. There are many other things that you have done, taught at business schools. What keeps you curious and active? What's the driving force behind doing all these things?
I'm grateful that, people still read what I write. So that's what keeps me going, right? If people don't read what I write and people say it's bad, I'll stop doing it. I keep getting feedback, right? So the only thing is the feedback helps you. Every day you get some message from someone, say, read this, they found it useful. So you feel good. So you feel that you're giving back something, I've been lucky, I've had a good job, good career, blah, blah, blah. That a lot of us are. But, I'm also lucky because I've always kept one foot in the teaching, training domain. And that has kept me kind of energized. And I find that what I write, what I explain, though I think sometimes it's pretty stupid, people find it very interesting. So they find it very interesting, that's good. I'll keep doing it. The day they say, enough, I'll stop. Okay, but ho gaya, bahut ho gaya. Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Ma'am, I have a similar question for you also.
आज मैं मेरा स्विमिंग छोड़ के इधर आया हूँ तेरे
Sorry?
लिए मेरा स्विमिंग करना छोड़ के आज आया हूँ इधर
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your kindness, sir. I have similar question for you, Lulu ma'am. You have helped creating so many brands. You yourself are such a renowned personal brand. What keeps you motivated to keep on doing new things, including writing books and helping so many people and keep on building new brands?
We all have one life. We've got to maximize that. So I believe in new experiences, new challenges, to keep growing, keep learning, keep growing every day. As simple as that. As you've probably read in my book, I was a sportswoman all my life. but I didn't want to stop with just the sports that I had learned when I was younger. So now I've taken on a new challenge. Last year, I started playing golf. Writing the book was the first thing. I'm probably going to be dabbling with something else next. So keep challenging, keep learning new things, and keep experiencing new things. I think it broadens your perspective and enriches your life.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for those inspiring words. Any questions, please?
Yeah, hi.
Quite a few.
Hello.
I do something very specific. I am a science communicator and a theater artist, and you've already partially answered my question. But if you could speak about the artist's dilemma of mastering their craft versus before you even sell your first ticket, you have to put yourself out there and chase certain trends. So, sir, you briefly said that you don't have to be on social media, but then otherwise, how do you reach out to the newer audience?
Let me take it on. I'll take
Yeah,
it on.
please, Dana.
Yeah, so I said, don't think social media is the answer to building a personal brand. First, understand what is your personal brand. Can you define that in 3 words? Okay, and then check with people around you. Do they also agree with that? Right? Get that clear. Then do things, right? Then do your thing. And then want to share it on social media, share it on social media. But be ready to fail. Be ready to fall flat on your face. And when you fall flat on your face, it's okay. You learn something. You get up, dust yourself, and go ahead. So don't worry. You're young, the whole world is ahead of you, yeah? So why are you worried, right? I remember, this triggers a question in I think, somewhere, and one of the youngsters like this asked a question saying, look, I have not achieved anything in life, so how can I think of becoming a personal brand? So my answer to him is, you're a personal brand, whether you like it or not. It's up to you to decide whether you've not achieved anything in life or you think you achieved something in life, and build on that, right? So build on that. So don't worry about failing. Just go ahead, build on that. Okay?
I would say to you, substance always comes before signaling. And you can choose not to use social media to signal. So based on your craft, if you start having performances or people start talking about you, they will then amplify your brand on social media without you ever having to do it. So you can be a master of your craft all along and never touch social media, but you are intentionally building up a certain aura and a personality through your craft, which becomes your brand.
I think my friend Ram Narayan, a big industrialist.
Ambi, you are referencing your gang of friends
Yeah,
a bit too much.
He's a big Hyderabad-based industrialist.
They are taking a lot of
Is asking
precedence on this panel.
I'm keeping them, they threatened to come and boo me. They've been in good behavior, so.
Okay, bring on the challenging question.
Mike.
This question is to both of you. Mrs. Raghavan, you talked about building a brand based on association, and Ambi was talking about the story behind it. Now, my point is...
Sorry, I didn't hear the first part. You said...
That I said a brand is associations. You said it's a story.
Okay. What does the brand talk about? I'm saying for youngsters who are in the startup part of it, the story or the association is built over time. They need to first sit down and say what is the story they want to say, or what is the association they want to have with that brand, and then walk the talk over the years. So the association or the story comes out of 2 years, 3 years after the startup comes. You need to be clear from day one what's the story you want to tell. That's the only point I wanted to make, because on day one you don't have a story. On day one you don't have an association. Like when you designed Sundrop, or when you thought of something else, on day one it wouldn't have communicated that message.
I disagree over there. Let's just take, for example, Digit Insurance. The first digital insurance brand in the country, right? Where they changed the whole paradigm. The vision and the story that Kamesh, who was ex-Allianz, had was that he wants to make insurance as simple as possible. It's a complex industry, consumers don't understand, there's a lot of lack of transparency. So the simple story was, I want to make insurance as simple as possible. That's the associations that he wanted to imbue in the brand Digit from day one. So everything they did, sir, from their website to the call center, to the name itself, to the policy, 40 pages were made 2 pages, was around simplicity. So my point being, from day one, he decided the association and story he wants
Which one is
was
this?
Digit.
Digit,
It's
Digit,
a
Digit,
very well established brand now. And then that was intentionally built. Now, whether the consumer understands those associations, that's the problem of branding. What you stand for versus what they understand.
Mukherjee. So my question, there are 2 questions actually.
One question.
One
There are
question,
quite a
okay,
few
okay, okay.
people.
So humors and wits, which is normally used by branding of Amul or Zomato. Do you think humor can be used in serious sectors like healthcare or banking maybe?
Humor, yeah.
Humor, where you can use humor very easily is what I call low involvement product categories. Candy, Candyman, all those, Center Fresh. Easy to use humor. Cola, right? Beverages, very easy to use humor. But if it comes to health insurance, right, and stuff like that, you got to use humor very carefully. It can backfire very badly. Right? That's my simple answer to your complex question. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, a question. ठीक है.
Hello.
We'll stay on if you want. Some of you want to ask us questions because we've got to wrap up after this.
Hello, I'm Pradeep Kumar. Is the branding, or what are the principles that you are saying for consumers? Okay, how different would they be in, say, B2B? If I am selling something to the bank managers or the CFOs, to their roles, okay, how different the branding should be?
So, a couple of things. Ultimately, the buyer, both are human. The consumer is human, the B2B buyer is human as well. And secondly, there are both functional, rational, emotional drivers for both. So the principles are very much the same. The key difference is the length of time, the courtship with the end buyer, the complexity of the sale that's being made in terms of everything that has to be explained, and therefore the kind of interaction, consumers buying it from the store, buying it from the app, versus the time period required in nurturing a relationship. But fundamentally, the underlying principles are very much the same.
Thank you.
Do you agree,
I think
disagree?
she summed it up. It's a myth to say that B2B में branding का जरूरत नहीं है. It's an old saying. You never got fired for buying IBM, right? IBM was a brand, right? So in B2B also branding is important. But in B2B branding, maybe a little more rational, a little less emotional. B2C branding is a little more emotional, a little less rational. But both need branding, especially this day and age. You got to have a good website. You got to have good presence on the digital domain. Even if you're selling, like Mr. Mauli here makes chemicals for, metallurgy. I mean, you got to make sure that his website is good because someone is going to go and check that, right?
Thank you.
Thank you, Ambi sir. Thank you, Lulu ma'am, for sharing such wonderful perspectives. And thank you very much for our audience for asking so many questions and being so patient to understand all these things. On the behalf of everyone at the Business Fest and T-Hub, I want to say thanks to all, both of you again for coming to Hyderabad and sharing your wonderful perspectives with us. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Sir, I request.
These, whatever you heard right now is just the tip of the iceberg. If you want to know more about their thoughts, the books are available on the bookstore, at the bookstore on 5th floor. And both of them are here. Take the signed copies, and it will be a great collection.
Now I request Mr. Harsh Pamnani to felicitate Mr. Ambi Parameshwar and Mrs. Lulu Raghavan. Mr. Harsh Pamnani is felicitating Mrs. Lulu Raghavan. And now, Mr. Harsh Pamnani is felicitating Mr. Ambi Parameshwaran. Oh, okay, sorry. Sir, we have also got something for you. Seems like I'm thinking about lunch, and I presume everybody else is thinking about lunch. So it's that bittersweet moment when we must say thank you all for being present here today. Thank you all.